Geographic. This episode focuses on the interconnections among society, environment, and health. It talks about the value of biodiversity as a source of food, medicine, and other biological resources in relation to the consumption of goods. The episode covers the relationship of biodiversity with health and medicine, food, energy, water storage and flood control, and air and water treatment. How do you define a healthy society?
A healthy society is a balanced society that works on all levels of life. A healthy society entails more than merely minimizing injuries and lowering disease-related death rates. It's also about having safe communities and cheap housing, expanding employment possibilities and lowering economic disparity, creating walkable cities, and encouraging community togetherness.
Ang malusog na komunidad ay may mga taong masayahin, walang inggitan, at nagmamahalan. Dahil kapag ang komunidad ay may mga taong mahilig sa chismis at pagkaingkit sa mga taong umasenso, ito ang nag-uugat ng hindi magandang samahan. Kailangan kaibigan mo silang lahat ng kaaway para magtutulungan sa ikakaunlad ng ating komunidad.
Tinasalong at nga gimong kat ato iti maibaga nga basit lang iti tattao nga agsaksakit ken manmano iti matmatay nga agigyan itoy nga syudad dahil iti maysa nga sakit nga agbaling nga ikatay ti tao. Atoy metlang nga syudad iti maibaga tayo nga adda iti sapat nga trabaho para iti tattao tatno madida agkurang ti pangaldaw nga pangangailangan da. Adda ti na syaat nga kakaruba napintas ken nalinis nga pasilidad ken syempre komportable nga pagyanan.
Sa agrikultura tan biodiversity, mas lak na ituturing tayo na mansa siya niya nunog-nunotin. Bagaman sa biodiversity unsa sa ilalim at arom niya modernong kultura, sa panagbuo ya sari kasalukuyan niya sistema at produksyon, it man re-resultay maawang na pag-convert ya dalin tan kasabay tuya so pagkabalang niya biodiversity. Umpan napakan so undarakal o umbabalag ya populasyon na pagtayon kabatan so makabalo tan katanggap-tanggap ya paraan at panuulo ya konserbasyon at biodiversity tan panagaway na akan tayo.
Aya healthy society na sutaw adi mamagugupa, mapeder pa, agu may saysa silang langon na kapag ito ay i-consider a healthy society. Isampan na basta sa mga walayron agus of business establishment na mapipiya na isang na ito consider a healthy society as long as langon na tauron na may saysa silang ko langon na suwaniran para sa ikapipiya o derpayran.
Let's start with biodiversity. There are three different types of biodiversity: genetic, species, and ecological diversity. Genetic diversity is the individual variations among organisms of the same species, as well as variations between populations that due to local condition adaptation. Species diversity is the variety of species within a particular region, either in an ecosystem or the entire biosphere. Ecological diversity is the varieties of ecosystems and the interactions of these species. The variations of topographical and climatic conditions contribute to ecological diversity. Society benefits greatly from biodiversity because it acts as a source of biological resources and essential services such as food, medicine, energy, and more. Biodiversity can be exploited and abused. Because of this, humans should be responsible in ensuring that these are protected.
We have forgotten how to be good guests, how to walk lightly on earth, as its other creators does. We don't inherit earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. So let's take good care of it. Let us save the diverse life. The environment needs us. The environment needs you.
Intonyeva said, when we say biodiversity, it tackles about the variety of life present in ecosystem. This includes variety of animals, plants, fungi, and even microorganisms like bacteria that makes up our natural world. Biodiversity provides functioning ecosystems that supply oxygen, clean air and water, pollination of plants, pest control, wastewater treatment, and many ecosystem services.
Health and medicine. Human health benefits greatly from biodiversity. Many plants are used to treat illness since 2600 BC, as exemplified by herbal medicine used. Natural products are used today in the synthesis of drugs and the treatment of disease, like Cupressus sempervirens is used to treat coughs, colds, and inflammation. Same with Comifram myra. Salvia apiana is used to aid in childbirth and help protect from respiratory ailments according to Indian tribes of Southern California. Elegy mimorum, or the camel thorn, is used by the Israelis, Konkai people, Romans, because of its believed diuretic, diaphoretic, laxative, expectorant, and gastroprotective, antiseptic, and anti-diarrheal effects from its mana, a sweet and gummy substance from its stems and leaves that contain melizitus and sucrose. Ligusticum scotium, or the Scottish lovage, believed to treat hysterical and uterine disorders as well as relieve flatulence and stimulate the senses. Salix, or the willow tree, where salicylic acid, the active ingredient of anti-inflammatory drug aspirin, was derived. The Faber somniferum, or the opium poppy, where morphine, a painkiller first used in the 1800s, was derived. Pilocarpus, where pilocarpine, a drug used for xerostomia or dry mouth, was isolated in treatment for Sjogren's syndrome, an autoimmune disease that damages the salivary and lacrimal glands, was derived. Digitalis purpurea, used in the management of congestive heart failure, was derived. Cinchona sexirubra Pab X Gloch is used for the treatment of malaria, was isolated.
Some of the natural products that used today in the synthesis of drugs in the treatment of disease are Cupressus sempervirens, which have been used as folk remedies in different parts of the world for antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, antiparasitic, insecticidal, antioxidant, wound healing, anti-cancer, estrogenic, anticoagulant, and many other effects. One example of this herbal medicine is Legosticum scutum, which was believed to treat hysterical and uterine disorders, as relieve flatulence and stimulate the senses.
Biodiversity plays vital roles in maintaining human and animal health. A wide variety of plants, animals, and fungi are used as medicine, essential vitamins, painkillers, etc. Natural products have been recognized and used as medicines by ancient cultures all around the world. It also serves individual and social needs such as food and nutrition security, energy, drug development, and fresh water, all of which contribute to good health. It also promotes economic opportunities and recreational activities that are beneficial to one's general well-being.
Significant medical and pharmacological discoveries are made through greater understanding of the Earth's biodiversity. So loss in biodiversity may limit discovery of potential treatments for many diseases and health problems. So for example, by attracting but not transmitting pathogens are more vulnerable to habitat degradation. So when we humans do things that erode biodiversity, we're effectively getting rid of the helpful species and favoring the nasty ones.
Food. During Stone Age, humans relied only on hunting and foraging for food. As populations increased, food demands also increased. This led to the domestication of animals and cultivations of plants. Lands were also developed for agriculture. Nutrition and biodiversity are linked at many levels. The ecosystem, food, production as an ecosystem survey. According to the World Health Organization, biodiversity is a vital element of a human being's nutrition because of its influence to food production. Biodiversity is a major factor that contributes to sustainable food production for human beings. The variety of variability of animals, plants, and microorganisms at the genetic, species, and ecosystem levels that sustain the ecosystem structures, functions, and processes in and around production systems, and that provide food and non-food agricultural products.
So in order to have a balance in our body for a good health, we need nutritious food and vegetables. Most people nowadays want to eat instant food, especially fast foods. So that's why there's a lot of instant death like stroke, diabetes, and hypertension, etc.
In ways that aren't often obvious or acknowledged, people rely on biodiversity in their daily lives. Human health is ultimately dependent on ecosystem products, which are necessary for optimal human health and productive lifestyle. Biodiversity has a significant impact on human nutrition because it preserves the long-term productivity of soils and supplies genetic resources for all crops, animals, and marine creatures harvested for human use. A crucial factor of health is access to a sufficient supply of a nutritious range of foods. As a result, if ecosystem services are no longer enough to fulfill social requirements, biodiversity loss can have substantial direct human health effects.
Energy.
What exactly do we mean by energy? Energy is the power to do work. For more than 99% of the history, the main source of energy to do work was muscle, either humans or animals. And fuel for that muscle is food, usually plants. Plants ultimately get their energy from the sun. So, almost all of the energy humans use comes from the sun. And approximately 200,000 years ago, humans first discovered the fire. Maybe they witnessed fire before that, in the form of wildfire caused by the sun or the lightning strike. And with that, humans learned how to control and use fire for cooking and other stuffs. Since then, energy has been an integral part of our lives.
Humans rely on energy provided by ecosystems to do the necessary activities in order to survive. Though it is not apparent that energy utilization has an effect on biodiversity, the risk that energy sources and energy demand pose are seen as threats to biodiversity by many environmental organizations. These threats include wildlife mortality, habitat loss, fragmentation, noise and light pollution, invasive species, and changes in carbon stock and water resources. Water storage.
Water is the most important element for the preservation of life. Water is limited. When it is not managed properly, it will result shortage in the near future. So by doing these simple tips, we'll reduce the risk of shortage of water. So fix and check all faucet, toilets, and shower leaks. You will save money as well as you will help reducing the risk of shortage of water. So washing your car using the water inefficient way can save your money. And turn off the faucet while washing dishes. Do not leave the water running to rinse, as well as turning off the faucet while you are brushing your teeth or shaving. So take shorter shower can save more. So 5 minutes is the maximum minutes to take a shower. So be water conscious. Being water conscious in general while at home and away is an effective way to save water. It is important to share knowledge about saving water throughout the conversation and efficient with your neighbors. So, conserve water, save energy, said by Sir Dakal. And no water, no life. Save water, and water will save you.
Drinking water was very important. About 2,000 years ago, wells are used in the Middle East because of the demand for drinking water. Aqueducts were invented and built by Romans and Greeks to maintain stable water supplies.
Water storage is a broad term referring to storage of both potable water for consumption and non-potable water for use in agriculture. Storing water in a tank allows wells that produce small amounts of water to supply enough water for a house, garden, and even some agriculture. If that water is collected over time and is stored in a water tank, water is one of the most important substances on earth. Always remember that water is a driving force of all nature. If there is no water, there will be no life on earth. So, we need to save water before it's too late.
Though flooding is mostly known to cause extreme damage, such as property damage and crop damage, flooding can also help farmers distribute and add nutrients to soil, making the soil healthier and more fertile for cultivation. Floods can also add nutrients to rivers and lakes, thus improving the ecosystem.
Flood control methods are used to reduce or prevent the detrimental effects of floodwaters. We, the people, are the cause why floods simply occur after rains. We cut trees, we dispose our trashes everywhere, and we never care at all. Flood control should come from discipline that we should practice. The government had constructed millions of drainage and dams, but that are not enough if we people continue to do those harmful acts. If we start within ourselves the discipline and take the responsibility, I guess the flood control will really help our country to minimize the effects of high-rise waters into our lives. As John Ruskin says, no individual raindrop ever considers itself responsible for the flood.
Air and water treatment.
Air pollution affects all things. It is harmful to our health and the impact of environment, reducing visibility and blocking sunlight, causing acid rain and harming forests, wildlife, and agriculture. Greenhouse gas pollution, the cause of climate change, affect the entire planet. Air treatment appliances, equipment, and system help filter air and control humidity to maintain indoor air quality in workplace and residences. Water quality of streams, lakes, rivers depends on the sources that feed them. Unfortunately, water pollution is created when fertilizers, animals, and human waste. Water quality can affect your home, your appliances and heating system, and most importantly, your health. Cleanup drive is one of the treatment to help our environment to cope up in this kind of pollution. Always remember that be a part of the solution, not the pollution.
When there are excessive amounts of certain gases in the air, the capacity of the environment to clean itself and be resilient is diminished. Too much nitrogen stimulates growth of nitrogen-loving plants, but diminishes the occurrence of others. It also reduces forest resilience against drought, frost, pests, and diseases. Also, water has a high nitrate concentration limit, making its protection of plant species to be difficult. Protocols on bio. We, as the human inhabitants of the ecosystem, must preserve and conserve the biodiversity of all creatures. In simple terms, it is true that people will always depend on biodiversity on the wholeness of our being and in our everyday lives. The following needs enhancement of implementation of regulations and worldwide protocols. Montreal Protocol. It is an international treaty designed to protect the ozone layer by phasing out the production of numerous substances that are responsible for ozone depletion. Kyoto Protocol.
Kyoto Protocol was lauded as a significant achievement in uniting nations to battle unnatural weather change. The arrangement gave a plans to help nations arrive at their objectives. So you're asking about the methodology and their model. So about their methodology, they have one, and it was to utilize characteristic cycles that eliminate carbon dioxide from the air, and also one model which is planting trees which use carbon dioxide in photosynthesis. The United States is second just to China in ozone-harming substance emanation. The United States is dismissed the deal since it was worried that this economy would endure on the off chance that it was needed to restrict emanation, yet agricultural nations were not.
It is an international treaty which extends the 1992 United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change that commits state parties to reduce greenhouse gas emissions based on the scientific consensus that global warming is occurring, and it is extremely likely that human-made CO2 emissions have predominantly caused it. Cartagena Protocol. Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety to the Convention on Biological Diversity is an international agreement on biosafety as a supplement to the Convention on Biological Diversity effective since 2003. The Biosafety Protocol seeks to protect biological diversity from the potential risk posed by the genetically modified organisms resulting from modern biotechnology.
Come forth into the light of things. Let nature be your teacher. Health is therefore one of the most important indicators of sustainable development. Biodiversity is the foundation for human health. By securing the life-sustaining goods and services which biodiversity provides to us, the conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity can provide significant benefits to our health. See you for our next week new and existing episode. This is not Geography, delivering fresh and legit news in our diversity.
Not Geography.